for the Rich Eisen Show. Law, you're right. I'm surprised it went so fast. But it's over?
It's over. Well, ESPN's reporting now that it's over. They have not gotten a conclusion as to what has happened yet, but they are reporting that the meeting is over between Odell Beckham and James Thrash.
Eric Davis is here on the Rich Eisen Show, my compadre from NFL Network, Super Bowl champion, cornerback, spending 13 years in the league. What do you make of that it was so short and sweet?
Short and sweet.
What do you make of that?
I make that nothing changed.
You think so?
That's yeah. I don't think.
Have you ever been in part of a process like this?
Yes.
You've been fined?
I've been fined for fighting.
Were you suspended?
Not suspended.
You were fined for fighting?
Yeah.
Who were you fighting?
One of the tight end, I think Harris. I think that was his name. The tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was back when Weiss was coaching. They were just dirty. Mm-hmm. And I got an interception, and in the bottom of it, he literally grabbed my ankle and just turned it until it popped. I tore ligaments in it.
No way.
So, yeah, so we got into, yes. I mean, he literally grabbed my ankle and just turned and just grabbed it and popped it. So, yes, we fought. But this is why I think nothing happened to change the effect with Odell's, because my response as to why I was fighting is because this guy did that to me and I retaliated. And they were like, well, you could have taken a different course of action. So you are admitting that you were doing it because of this.
So there can be no in these situations, there can be no extenuating circumstances acceptable to have a suspension overturned in that regard. No, Jackie Harris, by the way, might have been
Jackie Harris. Okay. That's the name. Yeah, and no, it wasn't. I'm not going to say that, but I'm saying in my experience, there were no extenuating circumstances that would preclude me from being able to say I had a thought process in which I decided to do this.
Well, who was the appeals officer? Do you remember? Was it a member of the league?
It was, it was Gene Washington at the time.
Oh, so he's a former player.
Yeah.
James Thrash is a former player. There's no...
yeah.
So, I mean, so what do you make of that, then? Is a warranted suspension that should be upheld in your estimation?
For Odell?
Yeah.
Yes.
How much responsibility should Josh Norman have in this?
Josh has no responsibility for Odell deciding to missile his body at him. Now, Josh, his responsibility was fine. He was fine for his actions within it. But still, that was a grown man deciding, I am going to try and take you out. I'm going to try and injure you. I don't care about what happened on the field. You can play the game, you can do it. And the whole thing about the bat got me in a certain mind frame. Please. So you're telling me you felt threatened. What do you think, they were going to come out there and start breaking your legs with a bat on the field? And that's number one. Number two, because that's ridiculous. I don't even want to hear that. You felt like someone was going to try to injure you with the bat. That's number one. Number two,
end his career with a bat was a metaphor for saying we're going to end your career today. Is how Dion described it.
And who was saying it? A practice squad guy. You don't even play. You don't play. You're in your pajamas. That's the first thing I would have said. How are you going to end my career? And you don't even get a uniform today. Please, go play football, man. This is not the first time guys have talked trash. It's not the first time guys have said they're going to take you out. It's not guys said that all the time. They say it every week. You go out and you play the game. Now, he got in his head, and he got frustrated. And that's what happened. And you don't have to, I don't care what remark they make, what they call you. It's how do you respond to it? Go play. Now that's that. So now back to.
But before you go back to anything though, I agree with you that Odell Beckham, the fact that he would in any way, shape, or form feel threatened is ridiculous. Okay, but so is having a guy walking around on a field with a baseball bat in any way, shape, or form on a football field before a game. I mean, really, do we really need that? If they're holding it up, like coming out of the smoke, like Reggie Bush did, and like some of the other Panthers have done that at home.
And that's what I have to say. They've done it. They've done it before.
I get it. That's fine. But for this practice squad in his pajamas to be walking around pointing it at the Giants,
yes.
Does the league really need? Do you? As somebody who played 13 years in the league, do we really need that?
Let me answer. Do I think that's ridiculous? Yes. Okay. Why is he walking around on the field with the bat? Because, as I said before, he's on the practice squad. He doesn't get to run out of the tunnel. He doesn't get to play. That's the only time he gets to hold the bat.
So take the bat out of his hand.
Well, it's one of those things when guys, as you said, they carry the bat out of the tunnel for a certain reason. It has a certain meaning to them.
But
so no one's going to take the bat from him because they understand why the bat is around. Now, so what happened, this kid is out of line for saying or doing anything ridiculous. But again, as a player, as Odell Beckham is a star in this league, I don't know why he didn't find that comical. To look at this, like, really? That's all. You are going to end my career. Where?
So, yeah.
So what?
It speaks to his wiring, is what you're saying, as a professional football player? The fact that he did not laugh at that he took it in a way as an affront or a threat, and then let it affect his play on the field?
No, I don't think he did take it as a threat. I don't think he took it in any way to be threatening. I think after everything happened and the way it played out, he's going to go back and say, this is why I did those things. He's trying to come up with a defense now.
So why do you think he did those things?
Oh, he did those things because he wasn't playing well, because the guy was in his head, because he dropped that first ball. None of this would have happened if he had caught that first pass. And while the game was going on, I was like, yo, you can't do that against a good player because you're going to hear about it. Because I can tell you right now what I would have been saying in that situation. Oh, you just blew your shot, buddy. You had me on that one, and you blew it. You won't get that again. And the way the game was playing out, he wasn't getting it again. And I know that's what he was hearing. He was hearing that chirping. And that's what happens. If you want to do the dancing in the end, what do I say? If I don't want you dancing, I better not let you score. If you don't want to hear my mouth, you better do something about it.
So you went in the tank.
And he went in the tank, and he got frustrated, and he started trying to fight and figure something out because he got frustrated.
And but Coughlin's seen guys go in the tank his whole career. He's seen that happen, right?
Oh, Coughlin,
so how does he not pull him out and say, I got a guy going in the tank, I got to sit him down for?
And the realest thing that happened was Coughlin saying he broke down and he said it. I wanted to win the game. Coughlin's trying to keep his gig. He's trying to keep his gig. If this was year one of his contract, he would have yanked him. We all know that. I have the highest respect for Tom Coughlin as a football coach in this league. We all know the great things he has done. He's the type coach I believe I would have wanted to play for. I have the utmost respect for him. And that's why I say that was as real as it gets. I didn't take him out because I wanted to win. I was hoping that he was going to calm down. But I need him on the field if I'm going to win this game versus a team like that.
Eric Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the rest of Week 16 news going on here in the National Football League. Eric Davis at _Eric Davis_ on Twitter. Back with more here on the Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to the Rich Eisen Show. So what does go on in the hearing room? Is it just a conversation? I mean, that's what Law was wondering during the commercial break, and I figured let's bring this to the people for 2 minutes here.
Conversation. From my experience, it's just a conversation, and you're talking to guys, and you're explaining what happened. It's not like Law and Order. You know,
there's nobody with
one of those courtroom scenes like that. That was not my experience.
Well, in this day and age, now we just need to wait for the transcript to be leaked because that's what ends up happening with these situations.
It's just casual back and forth. It's not more formal.
Yes,
like
in my experience, it was casual back and forth, and you were saying what was going on, and you would start to give a reenactment of what you believe was happening, and there might be a comment, and then you'll jump in and
so Odell's telling him about bats. He's telling him what people said to him.
Yes. He's trying to explain his actions. I did this because of that.
But is there any ramifications if part of it is like their words hurt me? Is essentially what he says, that he would be concerned about that being something that he would have to deal with on the field for the rest of his career. Is that something that he's thinking about going into that meeting?
Their words hurt me?
Essentially, that some of the things that they said got under my skin, and I lost my head.
No, he may say that.
So now everyone could say, you know.
Well, if that's what's going to happen now, it's like a guy who fumbles the football, and you get the reputation of being a fumbler, and you start to fumble. Well, why do you start to fumble? Is because you get the reputation of being a fumbler, and everyone's trying to strip the ball and make you fumble, so you fumble a lot more. If someone thinks I can get in your head by talking to you, they're going to talk to you.
So then it doesn't matter what he's telling. And there's nothing that it doesn't matter what he's telling James Thrash. He's already the way that he reacted in the field last week is he's already got to deal with that moving forward.
Yes.
There's nothing that he's telling James Thrash. This is what they said to me before the game that James Thrash has never heard on a football field before. What do you think?
Probably. But nothing that he said. This is not the first time someone has said something threatening, mean, insulting to a player on the field. Derogatory. This is not the first time. It's not the last time. It's not the last time it's going to be said to him for sure now.
Back with more in a minute. I'm Eric Davis. I've been on fire in this league. I'm now 4th overall, man. I'm just 60 points off the lead. I can do this thing.
You can do it. You can do it. Your name is on the mug.
This could be like a Giants 2007 Giants type run to go all the way from the middle of the pack all the way to the top.
That would be impressive.
That would be similar to all that stuff.
That would be impressive.
The Denver-Cincinnati game, Osweiler versus A.J. McCarron. No Tyler Eifert also. I've got A.J. Green coming up in the 3rd hour. How do you see that playing out on Monday Night Football?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's a tough one. Because of the quarterback, I would lean Denver. Both defenses are capable of making plays. Cincinnati's a very good ball club. Even with A.J. quarterbacking, because that quarterback doesn't have to win the game for them. Denver, with their defense, again, capable of making a lot of plays, especially on the quarterback with the lack of experience that A.J. has.
In Denver?
In Denver, I'm going to lean.
Sounds like you're leaning to the home team right there.
With the home team.
What about the Saturday night game? Do you think the Redskins wrap up the NFC East with the win in Philly?
It's a road game.
Kirk Cousins is vastly different at home.
Yes.
Why is that? Crowd noise, things of that nature?
I think that has a lot to do with it, because you can stick to the script much closer at home. Because of that, the crowd noise is controllable. Your audible system, any verbal communication, it's all there. You don't get as rattled. On the road, you can't control that element of it, and things that you may have put in during the week, you may not be able to get communicated, and I think that's a major part of it.
6-2 at home, 1-5 on the road going to this game.
Yeah.
For Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
So you like the Eagles in this game?
I like the Eagles in this game because of that.
Well, and Washington, if Washington's 8-8 with Philadelphia 8-8, Philadelphia goes, because Philadelphia would have a better division record. If Washington's 8-8 with the Giants 8-8, Washington goes because they have a better conference record than the Giants in those circumstances. So right now they need to basically lose out and have one of these teams win, essentially. I mean, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Eagles are only 3-4 at home too. They struggle at the link. I mean, they've been struggling everywhere this season.
They're 3-4, both at home and on the road.
Yeah, but they've struggled at the link too.
I think last week when we were doing the scenario of how the teams were going to finish out on total access, I think I picked Washington to win this game.
How much is the Tyrann Mathieu injury going to hurt Arizona, you think?
Oh, I think that's huge. I think that right there, that's the team that I thought could give Carolina the biggest run in the playoffs. And without Tyrann, I would give the edge to Carolina.
No kidding. Why not Seattle with Cam Chancellor getting a second crack now that they have better communication, that breakdown with Greg Olsen in the last 2 minutes of the game wouldn't happen this time around?
I say that's the scariest team in the NFC, and everyone needs to watch out for them. But Carolina built their team to beat that team. They built their team to try and contend with two teams. The 49ers at their highest with Harbaugh and the Seattle Seahawks. Because those two teams were so similar. And that was the team they felt they had to beat. And you look at the way they play football like an NFC West team. The team that I thought could give them the most trouble is an NFC West team that could score like that, but they had such playmakers on the back end that I thought they could give their defense a lot of trouble. Losing Tyrann, it changes the way you have to play things. Seattle, I think the Panthers can beat Seattle.
The poll question, ask it to the man before he's got to go. Chris Brockman at RichEisenshow.com.
Pro Bowl rosters announced yesterday, Eric. Who was the biggest snub for the Pro Bowl this year? Allen Robinson, Ronald Darby, Jordan Reed. Andy Dalton.
Or if you've got another one that's not one of those four, I'll accept that too.
The Robinson kid. I mean, he's been playing really well. I mean, if we're gonna,
He's got touchdowns galore.
you know, I mean, the touchdowns. You have to give him credit for that. That's
you
that's
got-
big
see,
right
the-
there.
the
And I mean,
whole-
another guy. I mean, Doug Baldwin.
I know, but I mean, the first 9 games of the season weren't off the charts for him.
Oh, okay, but it's
But
about.
here's the
But,
thing,
but
is
isn't it Pro Bowl season?
But who do you
It's
take?
not Pro Bowl game or
Here's
Pro
the
Bowl
thing.
month.
I got a minute here. Odell, Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, A.J. Green, who's coming up in the next hour, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Brandon Marshall. Who do you take off? Let's put Allen Robinson in.
I will if you're going to do.
Just this year, obviously, right?
Did Calvin have that
Yeah,
year?
exactly.
He'd be the one I target too.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I understand, but I mean, I don't know if you can take. And that's the thing about it. Do any of the guys deserve to not be there?
Sure.
That's why it's hard to say schnub.
Thank you for coming on, Eric Davis. I will see you Sunday at the NFL Network when you
Always.
do NFL Game Day Live right after NFL Game Day morning.
We'll be there.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.